Okay, well, let's begin with the breaking news on the president's travel ban executive order. The Trump administration was hoping that a federal judge would narrow the ruling that blocked the travel ban, but instead the judge this morning extended it. That was a temporary restraining order, and it's now a preliminary injunction, meaning the president's order is going to remain on hold until the lawsuit is resolved. The president called the judge's March 15th ruling against the revised travel ban, quote, an unprecedented judicial overreach. Mark Halperin, you know, listen, whether you like the president's travel ban or not, or the executive order, whatever you want to call it, whether you like the president or not, it's hard to find a lot of judicial scholars that do not identify themselves as progressives as not believing that this is going to be reversed when it eventually gets to the Supreme Court. The question is whether this thing's ever going to get to the Supreme Court or whether it's always going to just bounce around in the Ninth Circuit, either on, you know, lower court level or with the Ninth Circuit itself.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You and I have agreed along about whether this thing eventually would be upheld. I think the current development shows a couple things. One is we're in a different phase now of the Trump administration. We're talking about this as the lead story, but there's not the hysteria and the widespread, news dominance of this decision as compared to what happened just a couple weeks ago. And so there is a little bit of a settling in and a little bit of normalcy. But the other is it shows that the president, continues to fight a multi-front war on all of his major initiatives. And as we say, any one judge anywhere in the country can throw this thing into a complete stop. And so the administration's going to have to adapt to that. And it shows once again the importance of figuring out the legislative piece of this, not just trying to govern through executive orders, which can be stopped in their tracks by one judge.
Well, we've always heard over the past 25 years how much power Mike Barnicle, the executive branch, has by just signing and issuing executive orders. But we've seen now, with two administrations, we've seen opponents of those executive orders forum shop. If you're a Democrat and you don't like what Donald Trump or another Republican does, just go to the West Coast, and you can find a single judge that can issue an order like this and stop the law from being enforced across the land. Just like with Barack Obama, they could go down to Texas, find a single judge down there that would stop the president's, then President Obama's executive orders. It seems to me this is something the Supreme Court's going to have to take a bigger look at. Because I promise you, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. Right now, they are producing bad law out on the West Coast with this revised travel ban. This goes against precedent. It will become the law of the land. But right now, you have one judge being able to stop it, just like one judge was able to stop Barack Obama's actions in Texas.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, forum shopping has been going on through several administrations, not just this one. I think what differentiates this one is that initially this began with a couple of guys who ostensibly work for the White House, work for President Donald J. Trump, sat down on the weekend after the inauguration and on a paper napkin, perhaps, outlined a tough immigration policy. And that got this thing thrown off the tracks, followed by the constant refrain of Russia, followed by the constant tweets that get the president in hot water. And now what surfaces really at the core of all of this is the competence of the White House staff, Joe.